He thought skipping a shower after his workout was harmless, until his sweat triggered an alien heat surge that could rewrite interstellar law and accidentally bind him to the most forbidden female in the galaxy. Jackson Ward exhaled sharply as he racked the last set of weights in the artificial gravity gym. Sweat rolled down his neck, stinging his skin before dripping onto the steel floor. The station's hum surrounded him, the steady rhythm of air recyclers and faint vibrations of ships docking at the orbital hub. To him, this gym was supposed to be his quiet escape. But today, quiet didn't last. The doors slid open and a tall figure entered. She wasn't human. Emerald skin shimmered faintly under the harsh lights, her silver hair braided with crystalline beads that caught every movement. At first, Jackson assumed she was just another diplomat's daughter, sneaking time away from politics. But when her gaze met his, something shifted. Her pupils dilated unnaturally, her breath hitched, and a faint glow spread across the veins on her neck. Jackson frowned, stepping closer. "You okay?" Her answer never came. Instead, her body trembled, as if fighting against itself. Her shoulders widened slightly, her chest rose sharply, and her posture collapsed under invisible weight. Jackson froze, half concerned, half terrified. Then the station's biometric sensors shrieked an alert. Unstable genetic resonance detected, and suddenly, the gym wasn't just a gym anymore. The alert lights flashed crimson across the gym walls, bathing everything in an uneasy glow. Jackson raised his hands instinctively, as if surrendering to the station itself. The alien girl's breathing quickened, her fingers gripping the edge of a nearby bench so tightly that the metal groaned under her strength. "Don't call anyone," she whispered, voice trembling but urgent. Her silver eyes darted toward the door, terrified of who or what might walk in. Jackson hesitated. "You look like you need a medic." "No!" Her sudden shout echoed against the steel walls. She pressed her palms against her chest as though trying to cage something within. "If my people find out this response was triggered by you, I'll be branded as compromised." Jackson blinked, stunned. Him? Just a sweaty human. Before he could ask more, the heavy thrum of security drones approached. The girl panicked, grabbing his wrist with surprising strength. "We can't be here." Her skin was warm, too warm, and her grip sent a sharp pulse through his veins, like static electricity that wasn't supposed to exist. Together, they slipped into the maintenance corridor. Alarm still screaming behind them, and for Jackson, that was the moment he realized this wasn't just biology. This was politics waiting to explode. The maintenance corridor was narrow and dim, lined with cables and silent service drones tucked into charging slots. Jackson followed her lead, unsure whether he was helping or making everything worse. She moved with urgency, one hand still pressed against her ribs as if steadying something volatile inside. They reached a junction where the emergency lights hadn't triggered, leaving them in a strip of shadow. She finally released his wrist, breathing harder than before. "My name is Seraphine," she said quietly, avoiding his eyes. "And if anyone confirms what just happened, I'll be claimed under the ancient accord." Jackson leaned against the wall, trying to process that. "Claimed? By who?" "Not who," she corrected bitterly. "What? There's a law, older than half the species on this station, that says if a female enters reproductive surge because of an alien, a binding claim is triggered by default." She swallowed. "Even if it's accidental? Even if she doesn't want it?" Jackson stared at her, disbelief warring with concern. "You're telling me Sweat just signed us up for marriage paperwork?" A shaky laugh escaped her despite herself. It didn't last. Before either of them could speak again, the corridor lights snapped on, followed by a cold, synthetic voice overhead. Seraphine froze at the announcement, every muscle in her body going rigid. Jackson looked around, scanning for cameras, drones, anything that could have tracked them. The station rarely made mistakes, and this message hadn't sounded like a warning. It sounded like paperwork being filed. A soft whir echoed from deeper in the corridor, small compliance drones activating from the walls. Their lenses glowed blue, scanning the air for genetic markers. Seraphine grabbed Jackson's forearm again, this time not out of panic, but desperation. Listen to me. If they register you as the trigger, you don't get a conversation. You get processed. Processed how? He asked, already sure he didn't want the answer. Either forced removal or forced recognition. Her voice cracked at the last word. Jackson gave a dry, stunned huff. So I accidentally invented alien marriage and deportation at the same time. This is not funny, she hissed, though the edge of panic made it sound more like a plea than anger. There are families, entire political houses, who weaponize this law. If the council gets involved, they'll use our reaction to negotiate alliances. Before he could reply, a silhouette appeared at the far end of the corridor, tall, robed, and flanked by 2 enforcement drones. Seraphine whispered, almost to herself, "Too late. They already know." The robed figure stopped a short distance away, his expression unreadable beneath the faint glow of the corridor lights. The enforcement drones hovered silently at his sides, their scanners humming with quiet menace. Seraphine straightened instinctively, as though years of conditioning overpowered her panic. Her voice, lowered to a whisper, meant only for Jackson. "Do not speak unless he addresses you. And don't deny what happened. They can detect falsehood." Jackson nodded slightly, though his pulse jackhammered in his throat. The man's gaze swept over them, pausing on Jackson with clinical interest before turning to Seraphine. "Your pheromone levels have surpassed the surge threshold." "The accord has been invoked." Seraphine's jaw clenched. "It was unintentional. That is irrelevant," he replied, tone calm but absolute. "A bond trigger event has occurred. His involvement places him under provisional claim law." Jackson stepped forward, despite her warning. "Look, I didn't intend to trigger anything. I was just—" The drone nearest to him emitted a sharp tone, silencing him like a slap. The robed man continued as though nothing interrupted. "The council will review your case. Until then, both of you are confined to diplomatic custody." Seraphine's eyes flicked to Jackson. Apology, fear, and defiance, all fighting for space. And Jackson finally understood. This wasn't about biology anymore. It was about control.